right, we should be live right now. Yes. Yep, we're live.
Okay. Good evening. This is a meeting of the Community Engagement Committee. It's November 24th. The time is now 7:04 p.m. and we're at the beautiful cafeteria of R.J. Bailey. Let's go around the room and introduce ourselves.
My name is Luke Johnson, Network Administrator, Greenburgh Central School District.
Jamal Thomas, former board member and community member.
Rebecca Sampalayo, current board member, alumni, and parents.
David Warner, board member, committee chair.
Dr. Dean Faruqi, Director of Global Learning and Academic Excellence, and also parent.
I'm Amy Geddes. I'm the president of the R.J. Bailey PTA. Welcome. And I'm also a parent.
And we have a couple of people who just walked in.
Hello, Will Washington, ECP principal.
Damon?
Damon Yazer, president, parent to alumni, and local fire commissioner.
All right. And up on the Zoom, what we got? Jacqueline?
Sure, I'll start. Hi, Jackie Burton. I am a member of the district communications team.
Shamika?
Good evening, Shamika Matherin. I'm a member of the R.J. Bailey PTA. I'm the secretary. I also have 3 children at Bailey.
Great. Amberine?
Hi, everybody. This is Amberine. I have 2 in the district, one at Bailey and one at Lee F. Jackson. I'm current treasurer of the R.J. Bailey PTA.
Good. Miguel?
How you doing? Miguel Barrios. I have 3 kids in the district, 2 in Woodlands and 1 in RJB. I also work with the communications team.
Good. Anybody I missed? Okay. So tonight, our focus is on global learning. And with that in mind, we've invited Dr. Nadeem Faruqi, Director of Global Learning and Academic Excellence, to speak to us on English as a new language, world languages, and the International Baccalaureate Program. We have one more person. Please introduce yourself.
Tracy Mears, Board of Education.
Okay, Dr. Faruqi.
Hey, good evening, everyone. So my name is Nadeem Faruqi. I am a new member here at Greenburgh faculty. I come from New York City Public Schools with 24 years in education, 15 years as a classroom teacher, and 8 years as an instructional coach. In that capacity, I've worked with elementary school, kindergarten to 8th grade, and I've had the opportunity to earn my master's in history, my doctorate in transformational teacher leadership, and then recently my STL with a master's in school building leadership. Here in Greenburgh, part of the work under the Global Learning and Academic Excellence is ENL, World Language, and the IB program. So right now, our IB program is a unique program in that we have a continuum. It's the PYP, the MYP, and the DP, which is our primary years program, our middle years program, and our diploma program. So our kids are, they work from kindergarten through 12th grade to build this IB learner profile. One of the benefits that we have in developing this continuum is that our students are exposed to this idea of global citizenship from an early age. So by the time they're ready for graduation, they're ready for the world around them. The other department that comes under, the global learning is the ENL, the English is a new language department. And currently we are servicing almost about 150 students in our ENL program from kindergarten through 12th grade. We work to create an inclusive environment that ensures that all our students succeed. So really focusing on language acquisition for our ENL students is key. Currently, we're working to create a vertical alignment amongst all our schools and our teachers to ensure success. And the same goes with our world language program. So we are very, very fortunate to have Mandarin as a language offered in K through 12th grade here in the district, and Spanish offered from 4th grade on to 12th grade. Our Mandarin program begins right early as kindergarten, and our kids are exposed to not just the language, but the cultural aspect of Mandarin, and that brings them up until they have the opportunity to either choose Spanish or Mandarin in RJ Bailey, and then again in high school to make that choice. So currently our Mandarin program is working with the new New York State World Language Standards to revise and update their curriculum. Along with that, we have our seniors who have the opportunity to obtain the seal of biliteracy, which is a unique seal that says they can read and write and speak in more than one language. There's an assessment, there's a project that they go through to obtain the seal, and then it's placed on their diploma. And it's also unique because they can share this opportunity for universities, colleges, job opportunities. And the idea of being bilingual is celebrated and not seen as a hindrance. So currently, being new to the district, some of the things that I'm working to build is building relationships, understanding the programs and the systems that are in place. The staff and the community have been very supportive. I also have 2 children in the district, one at LFJ and one at Highview.
I love that.
So I'm very vested in the community and in the growth of our students, and really building that relationship with not just community, but also parents. Because I know from a parent's perspective, I want to be, in the know of what's happening, what's going on, and then what could be changed to help my kid, grow and get a good education.
Sure. I know that we have all kinds of, well, tell us first a little bit about how IB is taught to students, and then how do you get the parents involved?
Okay, that's a question. So IB in the primary years and the mid-years program is intertwined into the culture and the curriculum that the district has. So the IB learner profile traits are built into the everyday learning, into the SEL practices, into the conversations that the teachers have with the kids, into an interdisciplinary approach, which our units work on developing math, reading, writing to kind of, really create that interdisciplinary units of study. In our MYP, our teachers are, in the process of being trained in each subject area to really now move into transdisciplinary learning. And the students are exposed to same learner profile, continue on from the PYP, and also their ATL skills, which these are skills that are taught through all the different subjects that are kind of also woven into the curriculum. They're not just kind of a separate concept, right? So the learner profile and the ATL skills become part of how people teach, how we act in phys ed and gym and sports. Like, we're balanced, we are focused, we are inquirers, we are risk takers. It becomes almost like a philosophy, not just a thing that is done,
I know that in the elementary level, they more or less boil down each virtue into a very short sentence that the kids can understand. More or less, teach it verbatim and give it concrete examples. I've seen that at the elementary level. What happens in the middle years program?
So in the mid-years program, it's almost, like I said, it's kind of embodied within the curriculum. So if you sit in some of the opportunities in some of the classes where they talk about risk takers through the lens of the activity that they're doing. Like, you have to push yourself, you have to challenge yourself. talk about being balanced, like, you know, take time to be reflective of your learning, take the time to really think about, you know, what are my next steps? Whereas, you know, in the younger grades kind of outline and they sing the song and, you know, they know it. Now it's kind of more, I'm living it. And then as they transition to the DP, it's here. I have to apply the skills that I learned into, you know, my subject areas.
Good. Now, when you get to the DP program, the diploma program, right? You've gotten into high school, and the diploma program I thought was a very elitist kind of thing. Only you know, a very small percentage of our students could actually, you know, challenge themselves and make it. But then we've been trying for IB for all. Could you tell us about that?
Yeah, so, you know, like I said, one of the things that's unique about us is we have a PYP, MYP, this continuum that really supports our students to be ready for the DP and exposing them to all the DP classes. So it's not just a selective group that gets into this cohort that's the DP, but everyone has the opportunity to take a DP class. And even if you may not be working towards a DP diploma, you would still take DP classes, get credit for the DP classes, you know, include that on your resume, your college applications. And, you know, in many cases, colleges accept many of those classes as college credit classes.
Okay. Those are my questions. What are your questions?
I have a question. I know we have the IB program for a while. Do we track any of our graduate students to see if they actually are using the IB, you know, for future, you know, employment or future reference? Do we have, do you know, are they, or will you be doing that since you're here new now?
Yeah, so that's a good question. So one of the things we had a conversation about was, you know, bringing back some of our students to speak to our current students, or shedding light on how IB actually helped them in college and beyond, you know, or in a career path. And so that's the work going forward. I'm not sure what was kind of done in the past, but we want to look at, you know, how is it actually helping our kids, or is it actually helping our kids? And a few kids have, you know, reached back out, and we're working with the guidance counselors to kind of get their stories so we can share that with the community, or maybe they come back to speak to some of the seniors or just the students in general. But I think it's a great idea to track that, you know, to see how it's made an impact in their lives, even if it was just one class.
Yeah.
You know, if they took one IB class, 2 IB classes, or if they got a diploma, how did the diploma help them?
I have a question. With the character traits from PYP to MYP, once they get to the DP level, in the instruction, are those character traits being spoken about in relation to the material that they're learning in the IB classes in the high school, or is this just something that students would hopefully already have in self-reflection, know that this is what they're learning and how they're learning it?
Yeah, the idea is by the time they, you know, hopefully they've gone through the whole program and they've had exposure, and now they've built this idea of being a risk taker, being an inquirer, being a balanced student. The classroom teachers do refer back to it, being reflective, you know, not just moving through assuming that, hey, they're coming in, they're all risk takers, because maybe what they're doing at the moment, you know, they're not, they're afraid, and then they might have to go back to mentioning you are a risk taker. I mean, and these are examples, or, you know, you are being reflective, and or maybe this is a way you can be reflective in this aspect, because being reflective at 5 is very different than being reflective at, you know, 15. So.
It'd be very cool in seeing students, you know, 5 years from graduation, reflect on those character traits and how they've helped them professionally or through college.
Yeah.
Those specific things that they've learned since kindergarten.
Yeah, they were able to take that on in life, that it shaped, you know, their personality, their future, and whatnot. Yeah.
Well, I can tell you that I was in a company that was in trouble. They were selling things for less than they were it would cost the cost of manufacturing, and the only way out was to innovate. And we had, 20 engineers on the floor, and one of them came up with new products. And I talked to him, and he was a military brat, and he had been in Europe, and he'd gotten what turned out to be an IB education. And somehow he had not just the technical knowledge that everybody had, but let's see, he could think about, what do people need and how do I find it? How do I get it? And that kind of thinking allowed him to be creative enough to actually, create products. And it kept us going for a while, but there weren't enough guys in the company to, if we had, 5 more people who were IB educated, then we would have gone places. So I've seen it. I saw it before, it came here. Have you seen it out in the world?
I have seen it out in the world, but from a parent's perspective, I've seen it in my kids, and even though they're fairly young in LFJ and Highview, but I've seen them talk about not giving up, about persevering, like I have to keep going, I have to figure this out, and they may not use the word I'm a risk taker, but like I can see it that they're challenging themselves, so that proud as a parent, also as a community member that it is living there. But I like the idea of tracking some of our students and just seeing how it lives out in the world outside of Greenburgh.
Do you have any input on field trips that students take in classes? No?
I think field trips are a great experience.
Is the school still involved with the United Nations, or you don't know about that?
I'm not sure. Well,
UN links.
At the Model UN.
Yeah, no, Links used to have a program where they used to be involved with the United Nations. Is that program still going on or not?
So I know the Links does have something, I'm not quite sure if that's what it is, but I know we're trying to re-engage them with some other projects as well.
Yeah.
Around STEM.
So what I think is important is that, Ms. Fruski is brand new to the district, as is Dr. Chisholm. And so a lot of what I understand has been going on is a lot of auditing, looking at what has been going on and how do we do these things with fidelity, as well as to service the most amount of kids that we can. So, I think that's important for the community to be aware of as well. I think, we can definitely share feedback. The UN Links is definitely one. I just heard Ms. Geddes talk about trips. That's definitely a bit of feedback from many, many parents who would like there to be field trips elementary level that reflect the IB traits that include the teachings of IB. My concern as a parent with 2 diploma program children, one graduated and one about to graduate, is the preparation for the diploma program. I know Ms. Sampalayo also has a diploma program child. And my concern is the rigor happening in the elementary schools to feed into completing the diploma program or any IB level program. We do have a large percentage of students in Woodlands that take at least one IB class, which is awesome. But the amount of writing, the amount of research, the amount of stamina a child has to have to sit and write, or to sit and critically read, I do have concern elementary wise how that's coming up. We did hear from a parent recently with kids at Leah Jackson and Highview talking about homework. And so, again, you guys are new to the district, but just hearing that feedback, and then when you're auditing, looking at how it feeds into the kids that enroll in IB, whether it be the diploma program or IB classes.
No, that's good. That's good. As we look to audit and then create a plan, I think it's important to kind of look at that vertical alignment. How are we growing from year to year? How are we building upon so that our students are all ready for, the classes they face in the diploma program or in high school in general.
And as we integrate that, even with the profile of a graduate, and Mary, is coming soon, but how we crosswalked the IB learner profile to the portrait of a graduate and thinking about what are the expectations at each grade level that students need to meet in order to be ready for fifth grade. Because a lot of times we talk about kindergarten readiness, we talk about college career readiness, but we don't talk about high school readiness, middle school readiness. We kind of forget those things in between. And then once they get to high school, they have 4 years to complete and move forward, and hoping that we prepare them for whatever their post-secondary options are. So those grade level expectations and all those things will be forthcoming probably by January. So we are sitting down and having conversations about course progression, by content, by grade level, all of those things are happening now. So those things are in the works.
Trustee Werner talked about Italy. And we used to have a trustee, Tragic, who was on the board, who had IB classes in what country? I forgot what she told me. She had her IB classes, but France maybe. So our kids are doing the same level of work with students in other countries with a vastly different, you think New York, New Jersey have a different education system, vastly different education systems in other countries. And it's the same level of rigor and work, and they get through it. But I wonder if we could give them that, support kind of growing up and, high school readiness. Going into that.
Yeah, no, that's one of the things we're looking at as we plan, as we come together and with feedback from you, from teachers, from students, to really look at that vertical alignment and how we're building on the curriculum year after year. So it's not just they have the traits, but they really actually are prepared,
And one more thing, and I'll shut up. AI and IB, how are you gonna infuse that? How are you going to look at, I know Dr. Chisholm's smiling, because she has a lot of data around AI, but to look at how to infuse it, how to utilize AI, not ban it, we're working on an AI policy, right? To utilize AI for the kids to use it as a tool.
Yeah.
Right? And just inquiry based learning, that's right.
So we were fortunate to attend a conference in October that was around AI and IB. And a lot of the work is currently being done to support not only students, but teachers and leadership in developing the units, connect them to the standards. How do we use AI as a tool to help us in that aspect? How do we develop, experiences for our kids, using AI as a platform to track data, So there's a lot of work that IB itself, the organization, is doing with AI. And as they begin to share out and they begin to put out more, we'll be able to utilize that. There is a lot of training that they're going to have in the next 6 months or so for teachers as well to support, how they support their students in their classroom and actually how do they utilize AI, meaningfully without it becoming a tool that takes over.
And the other thing too is a really important concept about the AI is, so we're always very concerned about the end product, but we forget about the process. And so how do we utilize AI that in such a way for students specifically that we don't forget about the process? What is a primary, secondary source? Just because AI generated doesn't mean that it's a actual reliable source either, right? And then even what is the word I'm thinking of when you kind of lifting other people's work without their permission? Plagiarism. AI is a plagiaristic tool because it's taking things from other people's, right? And it doesn't necessarily cite. So making sure that students understand the process before just going to AI, because they're really concerned about that end product for the grade. And so we want to make sure that they have the skills that are developed, that whether they're doing in English or social studies or when they're in college, that they can apply those skills in different settings, not just in that one individual class. So, but we aren't even there yet to even think about procedures for AI with teaching and learning until we can get to the policy of what AI looks like for the district. So we're trying to do these things, not in silos, but kind of together, but strategically, because we can't give people more than what they're ready for either. So.
Have you seen AI use in the classrooms?
Currently, I've seen a couple classrooms that utilize AI for projects, it's more for research, you know, conducting research. I've seen some teachers use it for data analysts, for developing lessons or really analyzing student data, you know. But I think as we work towards developing a policy for our community, you know, we'll have a better idea of what that's gonna look like and that we're all on the same page. So.
Okay. Other questions? All right, thank you very much.
All right, thank you. Informational packets for you guys if you want on the way out.
Yes.
Or, you know, IB and the language and ENL support services and things from the state.
Okay. At this point, I was checking my agendas and found out that we had not bothered to elect the chair of the committee. I would volunteer if somebody wants to nominate me, but somebody else could do it as well.
Nominate Dave Warren.
I second.
Do we have a forum?
No,
2, 3,
Don't look
4.
at me, cause I can't vote.
I don't know, I usually have to have.
How
many people we have all together in the group? That's how you do it.
Well, if we go back to the minutes, which is the back half of your packet, people are here. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, plus 3 board members, so 9. Well, we have to have 1 more than half, right?
Yep.
So 5, we have to 5 people. 1, 2, 3, 4.
Tracy is, and here's.
Yes, yes. We have 5 people.
Just in time.
Okay.
All right, Dave.
Are there any other nominations? All right. All those in favor of David Warner being chair?
Aye.
Aye.
Great. We're legal. All right. Kelly. Superintendent's report. We have 2 items, soaring together and student advisory council meets. And I'd like the superintendent to go over this.
Sure.
And could you bring up soaring together?
1 second.
Yes, so, I don't wanna move around too much because I know people are on the screen. So Soaring Together is the new monthly newsletter that I'll be putting out this school year and subsequent years. I've just recently launched the first version and really it's aligned to the 4 pillars of SOAR, the student success, operational efficiency, attracting top talent, and responsive relationships. Within that first one, it was really important for me in terms of being transparent to include my superintendent year 1 goals so that everybody can know what those goals are. And it's also an accountability measure, right? So I wanted to make sure that I got that out before the end of November. There's quite a few things in there. Trying to think. So my goals won't be in every monthly newsletter, but it was a great way to kind of put it out there to start, and it is on the superintendent's webpage.
Wait, hold it.
Okay.
So tell us about what the goals are about for student success.
Okay, if you scroll back up to where the goals are.
There we go.
There we go, thank you. So normally we like to do 3 through 8 assessments to look at student performance and their level of performance. Before I can really get to that, I want to know what my year 1 data results will look like. Not necessarily always the data that you kind of inherit. And so by doing that, I wanted to start with the participation rates to make sure I have good data. Really, part of your school accountability and your district accountability is based on participation rates. And usually 3 through 8 is at 90% is the baseline. We are not there yet, and we're not there with our L students as well as our students with disabilities. Not quite sure why, but but that's the data that we need to see how students are performing and how do we fill that gap and a really goal set around student performance. And so looking at what our data was for the previous year, looking at ELA 3 through 8, math 3 through 8, and science 5 and 8, all students, again, trying to set little strategic measures around incremental participation rates. My goal is always 90%, but I also want to be reasonable. For our L students, they're doing pretty well with 84, but my goal is to get them a little bit closer to that 90%, because that also helps us determine what types of supports that we'll need for our students who are multilingual learners. And then our students with disabilities continue to lag behind, and even more specifically behind our L students. And so that's also the data that we need to see what kind of supports we need to put in place, or even some different interventions for our students with disabilities. But again, I need good data to kind of look at that assessment data. So that's really what my goal is around in terms of student success, starting with some more data than what I actually have. Yes. Yes, one of the things that Ms. Cabell, our Director of Students, I want to say Student Support Services, but Special Education, People Personnel, is doing an internal audit, just our own, just to make sure that we're in compliance, but also doing what we're supposed to be doing as it relates to IEP services, those type of things. She's an excellent hire to fill that role, because as we're going through this work, we're trying to see what we can do better and really improve on in terms of systems as well. So I don't doubt that we can meet those goals around our students with disabilities. Part of that also is going in and taking a look at what's happening in the classrooms, not just in district, but not forgetting our out of district placement students. So we are still accountable for our out of district students and how they're performing on their state assessments as well. If they're taking state assessments versus a NYSA, which is the alternate assessed students. So we're looking at all of those different measures and kind of compiling it together. The really great thing is that our schools also have goals that are aligned to the same pillars. So it shows not just the horizontal alignment from the district, but also the horizontal alignment from pre-K all the way up to grade 12. So we're kind of lockstep. And that kind of starts thinking about where we are academically from grade level to grade level, from building to building. So that's kind of the first step of that alignment.
So it sounds like you're going to do a lot of procedures and doing a lot of things that you think should be going as a normal thing year by year and haven't been done, and that will kick the numbers up? Or are you going to have to start programs and do things?
Well, we have to assess what's working and what isn't working. So it could be programs, it could be instructional methods, it could be professional development and how to support teachers in those classrooms. It could be procedures. So it's a lot of things that we're looking at and identifying, almost like our own needs assessment before the state comes in and tells us what we need to do.
Okay.
That's the plan.
Got it.
Of course, the newsletter is going to be mailed to the homes or just strictly on the website?
This is on the website. I think we have a quarterly that gets mailed, but this would just be a virtual web-based newsletter. Yes.
Okay.
And then of course we want to show pictures of everything that's going on. I think, seeing what our kids are doing, what our staff are doing, all those wonderful things. Keep people connected.
And all of your pillars, they're all interrelated and they work together, but what I think is really helpful is with your responsive relationships with regards to student success, being involved in the state level evaluations of things and all the connections that you have when it comes to teaching and learning is really helpful for our district.
And it's nice to be a part of, the Lower Hudson Council. I'm trying to think. The school superintendents, and even part of, in my first year, being required to do the new superintendent institute. So I'm meeting with all the first year superintendents from across New York State. And I'm talking about Grand Island to Long Island, as well as the Lower Hudson Council. Keeps us really connected. So we're sharing best practices, issues that we might be having that we're all facing. How do we collaborate on those things and kind of staying above or ahead of some of the legislation that might be coming out. That we need to be aware of, that we need to implement as a district. So it's very helpful.
Okay. Operational.
And this operational is really more about the budgeting process. Some measures that should be in place around the budgeting process, streamlining, transparency. Mr. Washington probably attest, I have already scheduled February meetings, so we talk about building it. So just kind of getting those things going ahead of time so that we're thinking about what does the budget look like? What are our staffing allocations? What are programs and services that we need to consider? Right now, we're vetting things so that we have an idea of how it might impact our budget and things that we need to budget for next week. So really trying to be ahead of that game too, with pre-planning, but also really try to be more fiscally responsible from a district level, as well as transparent to the community in terms of things that we're doing and looking to do.
Scroll.
Of course, we have facilities in there too.
Stop us if there are questions.
Does anyone online have questions?
Attracting top talent, I like to put in parentheses, and retaining too. So it's not just how do we get staff, but how do we get them to stay? Or get people to move on if it doesn't work, right? But hopefully we're putting supports in place before we even get to that point. But attracting and retaining top talent. So who are we putting in seats and positions to make decisions that are going to work in the best interest of students? Whether you're in the business office, are we making decisions in the best interest of students? Whether you are in now our new HR professional learning, I think that is a great way to streamline some of the processes that have been happening here in the district. HR was really between the business official and the teaching and learning individual. But I have to give the teaching and learning to teaching and learning and the business to the business. And so how do we become more effective and efficient in our work? And that was one way that we felt that would help us. So we welcome Mr. Hanratty, who's the newest addition to our cabinet as executive director. And then our two new directors being Dr. Faruqi, who we just met this evening, and Ms. Cabell, who are doing a bang-up job in a good way in their respective roles, filling past vacated positions. So making sure that we don't have those seats empty for too long. So making sure that instruction, special education services, all those things don't lag behind. So, and then all the other wonderful teachers that we just welcome. And we go back to, you don't have to scroll back up, but even with the attracting top talent, some of the work that's going to be coming out of Mr. Hanratty's office, that's already coming out of that office, is around recruitment. We're going to the Western New York Teacher Recruitment Days. We're going to the Central New York Recruitment Days, looking at those colleges that mostly have the programs that might fill those positions that are hard to fill, like special education, like career and technical education. And so we're going to those areas to recruit teachers who will have that certification in those areas that would like to hopefully come to Greenburgh. And the same thing, I think next month, I'll be traveling to the National Alliance of Black School Educators Conference, where I'm doing some recruitment with our the president of our teaching union. So kind of showing that collaboration between the superintendent and the president of the teaching union, because the teaching force is our largest size students, our largest stakeholders. And so we have to make sure that we have highly qualified individuals who care about kids, who love kids, in front of our kids. And then responsive relationships, really, I think that kind of starts, and I know you had on the agenda too, Trustee Warner, about the Student Advisory Council. Mm-hmm. That's a part of the responsive relationships. You know, we talk about relationships with the community and with our staff, but we can't forget our relationships with our students. And so leaning on them, really, we have about 13 or 14 students who will be meeting every other month. We've already met this month to really discuss some of the issues.
Bring up the second document, the Student Advisory Council.
Sure.
To bring up some of the pertinent issues. We're talking about school safety, open versus closed campus at Williams Middle High School. Who gets junior senior privileges, or do all students get to leave campus during the school day? We're talking about the bell schedule. We're talking about cell phone procedures that will support the policy. And then what does it look like? Because that will also help shape and inform our code of conduct. And what does that mean? We're even having conversations about what does the cell phone or no internet-enabled devices look like for the faculty and staff during instructional periods, right? So that everybody is following the rules and regulations.
So the Student Advisory Council, how old are the students?
So these are the students, grades 5 through 11. One of the things I think I talked about, it's so cute to see like some of the 5th and 6th graders in the groups with the juniors. And they're talking about lunch, right? Or they're talking about the open or closed campus. And just getting them to one girl, I think she's in 6th grade, she goes, I'll be there next year. So think about how those things impact them over the next year to 2 or 3 years. So they're getting to be a part of the decision making for a lot of different things that impact the students, not just at the grade level, but the grade levels that they'll be entering in the future.
And how big is this council?
13 students.
Okay.
13 students.
What are they asking for, and what are some of the examples of things that, you know, where the district has been responsible?
So the 2 things that I knew we wanted to talk about was the open versus closed campus, as well as the cell phone procedures. Then it was left open to think about what are some things the students want to talk about. Some things were around having an ambulance at sporting events. Something was 6th grade lunch was too early at RJ Bailey. So I did talk to, Principal Rossi about that to see what can be done. She agrees, it's like 10:20, but thinking about where snacks fall in for the kids. This building would like to have lunch options like they do at the high school, where they get to kind of choose what lunch they want. Some of the other things we talked about, we did talk about AI, really around AI and teachers using AI to give feedback to students. Those are things that, and we're already working on AI, so those are some things that are already in the works. They were kind of concerned that also maybe some of the technology that teachers are using may not always be correct, because students who write well, then it might say that they're using AI when maybe they did not. So those are some things to address. And then one of the other things that came up was around attendance. So I had students say, I'm on a field trip, but they're calling my mom, and my mom's like, where are you? Right, so how is attendance taken, whether you're on a field trip or in a school assembly or something like that? So those are things that are on my end to work out with how attendance is accurately taken and tracked, whether it's class by class or the average daily attendance. So those are some things that came up. They were really, really thoughtful and a bright group.
And all of this stuff is on the website?
Yes, it is. Yes, it is.
Okay, good start.
All right, thank you.
Any questions?
Yes.
I was just wondering about any feedback you might have had about political involvement day.
Yes, I didn't get any feedback yet. I didn't even check to see, well, today's Monday, I think it was what, Thursday? Okay, and I wasn't in district Thursday or Friday, but I haven't received any feedback. If there is feedback, I'm open to receiving it. I think the only thing prior to Parent Involvement Day was just how much it was advertised between the elementary school versus the middle high school. So just thinking about how we're pushing for parents to be involved at all grade levels across the board.
And we have an administrator here. You had Parent Involvement Day at your school?
Yes, we did,
Okay.
along with Pre-K Teach Day. And so we had at least half of our student body. We have 141 students. I think we had over 71 parents that came in the week right before that. We had Dad's Day. And today we had Turkey Chase Day. And so in one class, and then the rest of the school will do it on Wednesday. So a lot of parent involvement, engagement. And then last week, we also had Parent University. So a lot of parent support. And it will be displayed in the highlights of the website. And on the Google site, all the parents can go to their teacher and see all the activities that took place. And I just wanted to rewind back to when Dr. Chisholm was talking about the principals. we now have this principal check-in sheet, which at first it took me a while to learn, but I love it because it keeps us on task. And I really love when we get to say, oh, wow, I do it, wow, you know, and the box is growing. So we have a lot of redundancy built in with that check-in and the enrollment report, the highlight report, and all those things.
It's really nice to have conversations with the principals. I meet with them bi-weekly, just to do a check-in. We talk about staffing reports, we talk about APPRs and walkthroughs. We talk about upcoming current events, all of those different things. And then last week, we just started walking around classrooms and just taking a look to see what's happening. In the next couple of months, I'll be working, sitting down with principals and then wonder wants to now let's see some of the feedback that teachers have been provided. And let's have conversations about the feedback that teachers are giving, so, or receiving. So it's really beneficial, I think. It keeps me connected, keeps me in the buildings too, so they're not coming to my office to meet. You know, I get it to be in the buildings with the kids and the staff. And even Miss Principal Ross was like, I look forward to these conversations. So, but it's very collegial and supportive, I think. Good.
Okay,
Responsive relationships.
yes.
Other questions?
Can I ask a simple question, please, about the student participation, especially among our students with disabilities and who receive services? I love wanting to get that up to 90%. I love that you have a high goal for participation so that we can get a really accurate read on what's going on with students. I am aware of some of the huge boundaries of our students who receive disability services taking standardized tests, full stop. And I'm curious what tools we have to get out ahead of those boundaries and limitations so that we can increase that participation rate without taxing our students or stressing their IEPs.
Right. So I think it's all in the framing of the expectations. One, you can make learning fun, right? It's also how we communicate that with families. How do we remove some of those barriers? I'm not saying it happens here, but I've been in places where sometimes teachers will say, oh, you only need a 55 to meet, you know, because you're cut off because you have an IEP. But, you know, I think it's very culturally irresponsible, regardless of who the student is, to lower your expectations. So at the end of the day, the finish line doesn't change because it's a student with an IEP. How we get them across that finish line, how we scaffold, how we put supports in place. That's what the difference is. So my goals and expectations don't change. It's how we get them across the finish line.
How is that? How are you thinking to communicate that with parents as you build out that scaffolding?
So those are things that I've been thinking about because I would need to work with the buildings on how do we kind of communicate that, how do teachers have conversations about what our students are able to do, what they do know. And then also it's also a matter of thinking about what we don't want to do is create a crutch either, because as they move forward in their educational experience, it should be a gradual release so that at some point the supports may not go away, but they might look different. And so it could be a matter of a student who is doing well in a specific subject area. So it may not be 1201, but it might be integrated co-teaching. So that's a little bit of that least restrictive environment. How are we looking at that? How we have a conversation from year to year with parents, with teachers in that space as part of that annual review or that CSE about what our students might need and where do we let them go, quote unquote, for next year.
Also, you have Ms. Bell, who was at the last CEC meeting, over at Heidi, who was amazing, to also lift some of that work
Oh,
with the
she is,
buildings and
absolutely.
help the people to work directly with the kids to address some of the testing issues.
I think at the end of the day, it depends on the student and their needs, right? Or their the purpose behind their IEP, if it's intellectual, if it's developmental, you know, physical, those type things. But the goal is hopefully to declassify at some point to a 504 to something else, because when they get to college, right, it's part of their transition plan is it may not be an IEP, but what supports are in place to help them be successful at the post-secondary level. So I think it's part of that is those conversations with parents in those meetings, helping staff to understand student strengths from a strength base approach, not what our kids can't do. I think those are some initial strategies. Sure.
Can everyone online hear the conversation?
Yes.
Okay, great, thank you.
You got Jane turned up.
Yes,
Your
thank
question answered, yes, good. All right, are there further questions?
Just for you,
Yeah.
a question, is this meeting being recorded to be on YouTube?
Yes.
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 It's playing
Okay.
live and it's recorded for later.
So bring up the agenda.
Second.
I just wanted to reiterate a little bit, we're on item number 5, organizing alumni. Okay. Scroll down, yeah, there we go. Okay, so we talked about this last time. Many of our alumni have gone on to become highly successful. Our students don't know about them or benefit from them as role models, as resources. And for the superintendent, we're attempting to organize an alumni association. I think there was some mention of Lisa Nero and Deb Brooks as being organizers. Other districts' means of honoring alumni include a Hall of Fame or Wall of Fame. There is a picture, a JPEG that starts with WCC. And I just happened to be going to, this is an athletic one, but
This one?
yeah. Okay, so they go year by year and they can pull in the whoa.
Sorry about that.
Okay.
There you go.
And they can, put somebody's name in as they choose and update the display and remove the pieces and put them back as they're filled in. Is this the kind of thing that people were asking for?
I think that's a larger discussion. I think you need to have your alumni group talk about how they want it memorialized.
Okay.
I mean, we can come up with some things, but we're not all alumni to come up with that.
Okay, so forward
You have a
to the
group
alumni,
forming, right?
Yeah, well, that needs to keep working, that's a work in progress. I have names, I have people, I put out an all call, I'll keep putting out an all call, but I'm getting names that people writing down and giving me.
Mm-hmm.
But in terms of, it has to be a little bit more streamlined.
So is there a person you can write to or an address you can write to if you want to be included?
We
in
create
the-
a Google spreadsheet, so we
Yeah.
have one compiled place so that we can reach out to people based on their emails. I don't have everybody's contact information, I just have names. And so I need people to use that same, and it's in the, it was in the quarterly newsletter too. What I am working is with Jackie and Miguel so that there's a way that once you see the alumni spotlight, if you're interested or if you know someone, then you can fill out the same QR code. So we're trying to get that going on the website, but I need a one-stop shop place, not pieces of paper, people's names on it. Because that's not organized systematically for me to be able to, reach out to people as well. So those are things that are still in the work, but I thought starting with the alumni spotlight would be a great way to be like, oh my goodness, I know that person or that person, and then kind of like the snowball effect.
Right,
You start
right.
telling other people and those people that
Bring up the Don Weiss file. And we talked about featuring, and I saw this on the website, so. Yeah. Okay.
PDFs are being.
Okay, there. So our teacher at Lee F. Jackson and Highview has been here for 30 years, and there's a feature, right? So, right, she talks about what it's like, how she went off to college and she came back here and became an art teacher, and they saw me as a whole person, right? And she wants that culture to be continued on to the next generation of kids. So I want to give the same feeling back to students, right? And so basically, you get a little sense of what our career is like as an alumni and a teacher. You're an alumni, are you not?
I am.
What would you look for?
I mean, I think this is definitely good. Social media probably is the place for some of these things to live in that, there's groups of people talking. I know, like, I 95 just had their 30-year reunion, even though I'm 96 and it's about to be 30 years, which is crazy. But, they have a huge group chat where, they're talking. I have to shut it off because people are just, kind of communicating on an extremely regular basis. So, getting into those groups of people would be a good way to find the individuals who, are the kind of stars since they walk these halls, and to share with those people, because seeing an old friend and things like that, I think those are things that people would enjoy.
Maybe we could drop the alumni here.
Well, where did all those people at the homecoming game, right? So we had it looked like the entire football team, right, that had won the series. We were sitting there and they came out at halftime and it's like, wow. So it's like, was that coordinated or was that like some spontaneous?
That was Lisa Nero primarily.
Yeah.
Okay.
And Brooks, really, there's a Facebook group that got them all together.
Okay.
David, you finished?
I am not. Go ahead.
No, that's interesting, very thoughtful, and thank you for mushrooming the situation. This is something that I have been talking about for years, and I'm glad it is, or trying to. We have, as we speak, students in Woodland that have executive in Silicon Valley. We have students that just, speaking one just recently, that just became the pharmaceutical coordinator for the entire United States, not just an area. We have students that are in different in the teaching, really escalating. So
entertainment.
My entertainment. My focus is not only having their picture there, but see if we could have a request to them to have them come and speak.
Yes.
At the school.
A career day in February, they have people come, but we have to get their input.
Yeah, but those are things that I really would like to see happen here, because the thing that happened in my career, and I was growing up, to know that somebody that is in that category sat here, I am sitting right now, that type of thing. And I think it became a real catalyst for me, and I know something like that did mushroom. Because we have the ability to do that. We have students that are proud of themselves, that they went through Woodlands, and it's for us to reach out to them. So when you said earlier, to get that information and disseminate that information so that you can disseminate that. Will be a great thing.
People would 100% do it. If there was a bi-weekly, you could find enough people to have somebody here bi-weekly to whatever the form it's going to take once they arrive. They would have to know what that is ahead of time. But there's absolutely enough, successful people, and people who have a willingness to come out and have conversations with the kids, do something over the loudspeaker, something so that people do know. People from that sat right here are doing big things in the world that they are capable of doing.
So it's really twofold. One is alumni engagement, which is one level. But also thinking in my mind, I'm kind of going to an alumni association. We have a space in the high school, right? So that would be like a room where all the yearbooks are housed. That's where they're going to do their meetings. And I'm only thinking about it because at my high school, I get, it's called the Tiger, whatever. I get the newsletters to my home. It's talking about all the great things that alumni are doing, but the Alumni Association is also the association that they have elected officials, where they're asking us for money, you know, for programming. They're giving out scholarships. They're also helping to organize the 50th year and, you know, anniversary or all those different like reunions. They're also the ones that are coordinating the applications for the Hall of Fame or for the Athletic Hall of Fame or those different things. Like I can't do all of that, but that's why I'm really trying to think of how to build, in my mind, an alumni association that is a governing body that kind of coordinates a lot of this work for the alumni, outside of just bringing alumni in for like an alumni achievement week and speaking to students. So it's really twofold, but I'm really trying to, my goal is to build an association with alumni. And then maybe that becomes a Facebook page, and then that could help, you know.
So is that a nonprofit organization?
I don't know, I gotta look into that because I do send money sometimes, but I don't, you know, I think it's a tax write-off, it might be.
Okay.
I don't ever ask for the money back. But I can look into that, because I do know the folks that are, one of my former teachers is also one of the chairs on the committee, so I can ask.
Okay, okay.
Well, Dave, there's a different lot of ways, you know, I'm on a lot of committees, Hall of Fame committees and all these things, and, you know, there is a process that you have to do. You know, the good thing about Woodlands that we do have is that we're not that old. Remember, the first graduating class is 1964 here. Compared to some schools, they go back to the, you know, and one way you have to do it kind of is put feelers out. Because we have some people who still reckon, I know when I was at the high school, when I was there, they brought back the class of 64. They did a time capsule that they did. And, you know, the stuff and everything. Because the thing you don't want to do is omit people. That's the hardest part. You know, athletic Hall of Fames are easy compared to maybe schools, Wall of Fames, because you have so many people. It's really hard to, you don't want to leave nobody out. So it gets hard to, who's that? Athletics, there's a certain criteria that you have to have, okay, to get into that. And if you don't have that criteria, okay, how good you think you were, you're not going to get in there because you have a committee of people. No, you know, and we still have some old timers who are still around, okay, who knew about the athletes that played in the 60s and the 70s, because you have to go back first and work your way, you know, work your way up. And one thing is, the quicker we can get this going, the easier it's going to be, because each year, that's Mr. Court, I know, that's been talked about for a long time. And we try to do what we have in Wall of Fame. And if we did it back in the 90s, it would have been easy, because now, as time goes on, it's easy to, now you got to go all the way back. And there's been a whole lot of, you know, things that are going on with the alumni to the point where it gets kind of, you know, okay, who do we do? Who's this? Who's the first class? Right? How many people are going to put in there? You know, how are we going to do it? Are we, you know, some schools have, like Mount Vernon High School, they have a Wall of Fame.
Okay.
Where they have pictures, you know, of the people. Sometimes they have up-to-date pictures, or they might have the graduation pictures or whatever, and they have it, but they've been doing that for a long time. And, you know, we have a lot of wall space, which would be nice, but that's kind of, you know, like I said, that's a committee decision and how it is and everything. Do that.
He's home. Okay. Okay, so it sounds like it's starting to take shape. Anybody got any burning desire to throw some more stuff into the mix, or are we good and we'll just keep revisiting it as it develops, and once we get that content?
Definitely work to provide updates. I have to start with what I can control right now, and that was around highlighting and spotlighting the alumni and kind of getting that interest out there for right now. But like this is incorporated because the money is like a business entity. So it's gonna take a little bit of time to form shape and get it up.
And there has to be an alumni who wants to do the work to help to coordinate.
Correct.
It's not gonna be just fun, it's gonna be some work, some business aligned work to get that up and running.
Okay,
So that's part of the catch.
all right, I am done. Anybody else? Okay. Outreach to non-parents. Opportunities for community participation. Going back to the agenda. So I said, what are easy things for people from the outside to just kind of get to know our district and our kids in a non-threatening environment? And so Read Across America, where you can read to the kids, and the winter concerts, the spring concerts, the Woodlands Middle High School.
How do you figure the winter or any of the concerts are non-threatening? Trying to find a parking place.
Okay.
Is a problem for all of these events at any of the schools, except perhaps maybe the high school. But, I mean, you obviously haven't come to a concert here in a while, because it is life threatening.
I
try and get a parking
I
place.
park in one of the side streets and walk and expect that I need to arrive early and walk two or three blocks back and cross the street in order to get here.
I get that, but I'm just saying that the concerts are not necessarily friendly for the people who don't have kids here because of parking. And I would also suggest perhaps if they're not necessarily easy for people who to navigate the schools, if they don't have a kid here. I see your list, I'm just questioning why they're on there.
But Amy, I think these are just suggestions. I think he's asking. I know at Woodlands, at least we used to have more than one performance a year. As far as the plays were concerned, musicals. There used to be Black Box Theater where the kids could do a lot of different artistic type plays that they wanted to do. And then the one district-wide musical was very family friendly. And a lot of the community members without children would come to those musicals and see those musicals. I don't know how much it's advertised to the non-community. I know you weren't here, but to the non-parenting community or graduating community more recently. But I don't know if concerts and talent shows were. I know art shows were. People do use our fitness and tennis courts and track.
Okay, are there, so we have a parking problem, obviously, and
I have a wondering.
yes.
So I know you're talking about parking. So I guess I'm wondering two things. So for like musicals, was it like one specific show, like the Saturday at 1 o'clock show was open to the community only?
No.
It was the dress rehearsal, was open to senior citizens and would bring people from their side.
Okay, so it was
And
a
it was-
specific show?
And it was open to anybody,
It's
but it was
open to
also
anybody.
free.
Yeah.
Okay, so one of the 3 shows was open to?
No, all the shows were open.
Okay.
All times, but what she's talking about, the dress rehearsal, that first show, people were invited. So there were community members like people here.
And it was at no cost to anybody who would come.
Okay, so then my second wondering is, how does that work for seating and space? If I'm a parent and I get there and I don't have a place to sit to watch my child? I'm just saying, just looking at on both sides. The other thing too is security issues.
Yeah, I could address that. What you need is your monitors or even the police department to help out. You gotta help out the street, the police department. But you need, since you have monitors in the building, for example. I know when I was at the high school, we had elections. Okay, we made sure that the teachers didn't park in there, because they have assigned spaces by the gym. We kept those spaces open, they had them parked in the upper lot or whatever spaces, because we wanted the voters to come in, have those
Yeah,
spaces.
that I
Where they
get,
come in.
it's control.
Yes, and the same thing, she said, especially nighttime, you need somebody out there, just direct Because what happens is that this place fills up very fast. Everybody doesn't park properly. And so the thing is that if you have somebody, and if the parking lot is full, which it will be, then there are other, means and ways where you can either direct people or they have to find parking spaces. Or, another thing too is if the school has the money, the budget, you can have people busted.
Yeah.
No, I was thinking more of like in the building, in the facilities,
We don't really, I haven't
them making sure that they're tagged and
seen
stuff
that
like
much
that.
Oh, no, they don't have assigned seats, just
Yeah, we don't-
first come, first serve.
It'd be
Okay.
great if we have that many community member support, but we don't really usually.
There's never a lack of seats.
Yeah,
Okay,
put it
that was my
that way.
concern, okay.
Yeah.
What there is not missing that I've seen Scarsdale puts out and the local schools, because I live near the village, there's flyers that are posted in stores that I have never seen coming from the district.
Okay.
And also, and I was gonna say it might not be popular, but since you went there, visibility. Our children don't get as much visibility in our community as I know other communities do. We do have some town events that our kids buy into, but as they get older, there's things like youth court that we have 1 or 2 Woodlands kids there. The whole thing is filled up with Ardsley kids. The whole thing is filled up with Edgemont kids, right? Paul Feiner puts out the Angels or whatever it's called, that helps the senior citizens shovel or rake leaves. I never have Woodlands kids in that program. So stuff like that gets our kids who are amazing in front of our community members, talking to our community members. Outside of CVS Acme, these guys were selling these candy bars. I said, oh, what school are you going to? Oh, it's in White Plains. I'm like, White Plains District, you're coming over here to sell candy bars? Where are our kids selling candy bars? So I think it's a community connection. It's a commitment to getting to know the businesses. Can we put up our flyer here? Can our kids volunteer here to do something? Acme's been great about hiring our kids as employees to do checkout. But I just wonder if there's other ways we can, the Key Club, even doing a good deed or, I don't know. I'm not sure what actions there are, but we're a small community. Getting them out, getting them visible is always.
They're consistently reaching out to Paul Feiner to tell him, this is what our kids are doing, because.
Yeah.
And we
There's
there's plenty, I'm.
Yes.
But they come out. I mean, you have
They
to
look for
understand.
public service and they come out.
They come out. I mean, you have snow angels, they're the ones who volunteer.
Yes.
Okay, because gonna keep it real, our kids sometimes, they wanna get on the shovel snow. I told my son, you have to shovel, I have to, he gets up and do it, but these kids just volunteer. It's like the computer program we have at TDYCC. That should be our kids, but it's the Edgemont kids. Because some of them have the resources, they have the free time to do a lot of things that, maybe our students don't do, but it's a push that has to go. And do the students have ID cards? Are they still do that? Or they don't do that at school?
They don't do them anymore.
Okay, because one of the things that, I hate keep putting up when I was working, is that with an ID card, okay, you have access to the businesses. Like we had something one year with McDonald's. McDonald's had a special day, so we said if kids had ID cards, that they can get a hamburger, back a while, instead of paying $1, they get a half price, because they're Woodland students. So that means you patronize local businesses, the businesses know that you have that. Since we have crossroads, okay, now we have all these sidewalks where we have no longer problem no more about safety. That's something that you can actually get into, if you want to. That's a school decision, that you want, as you reach out, you do. Because then when we have programs, see if you can invite Channel 12 News.
Oh.
Okay.
Yeah. But our guidance department does actually an excellent job with sending the information to the students. There's just, and we had Mr. Faruqi here earlier, it's just, I don't know what, they're teenagers, but I don't know what happens. I feel like it's somewhere in 8th or 9th grade, they come in super gung-ho and, you can get the middle schoolers to do certain things, you give them an idea and they run with it. But I'm a therapist, I think about mental health, it's almost like a loss of motivation, it's like something drops off. Maybe it's general adolescence. But again, the kids in other districts are doing it. Are their parents forcing them? Maybe. But they're taking that opportunity for public service because they know it needs to be on their, transcript for college. And it's a lot of our students rush, 11th, 12th grade, try to start a club, try to get some community service, because then that's when they start realizing it's gonna kick in. But maybe even as early as Bailey, 5th, 6th grade, those IB traits to be community minded, to be community centered. How do we make sure that's hitting all of our kids so that it doesn't get lost, so that they see these opportunities to volunteer?
Well, do you have a community service requirement for graduation, or you don't?
Everybody should have.
No, but does women's have?
20 hours.
Okay, women's have a 20-hour minimum for graduation, or do they have?
I think it's New York State requirements.
Oh, okay.
As part of the social
Okay, far away, because, you can up it. I know my old high school, it was 60 hours you had from high school till you graduate, where it could be anything. And I mean, that's something that you want to, you have the programs like IB, you want your kids to get more involved, you have to do it. 20 hours, if you look at it, you can knock that out real quickly. But if you put something in there where it puts a little spice and kids get credit for it, okay, besides just, for example, just doing it, that's part of the thing, you have to get credit for it. I think that's a go-to. I can just use my son's experience. He worked 2 years for the whole summer at the health center. Okay, volunteered. He didn't get 2 credits. Because of work, the hours he put in, it takes a lot of hours. You just can't do 20 hours, but you have to put hours in. And I think that's an incentive that could be done for the students. If you
I don't know about credits, so I have to see how it's integrated to the course, but it's a part of the course requirement, it's part of the requirement for the course.
Yeah,
So
and it could be part of a regular one-day class, English, go out there for your math class or whatever, your tutor, or you do something. I mean, there's ways of doing it.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, but that's.
Well, I want to intercept with some information, and I want to point out that we're way off course. But I don't think we're far left field. We started talking about how to bring the community into the schools, and we ended up talking about how to bring the schools into the community. It's sort of the same conversation. So I want to just say concerts are probably not a great fit for people who don't have kids for a lot of the reasons we brought up, and also just navigating the crazy that can be the concerts when it's not your child is a little bit intense. Musicals are great. Ivy Talent Show has not had room for anyone but the parents whose children are performing that night for years. So some of this stuff might need to be finessed, but the bringing the kids into the community, anytime you send Paul Feiner information, please CC Lisa Marie Nero, because she will make sure that he includes it. Otherwise, it sort of goes in one ear and out the other. You can pester her, send her to me if she's not seeing something you want her to see, and we'll take that opportunity to say hello. Like the Snow Angels, the Tech Angels, these are the Tech Angels. The Tech Angels is a program started and run by, I think, an Edgemont or Scarsdale student. And they have been trying to get that student to bring in other students like ours from Woodlands. The logistics of coordinating 18-year-olds, 17-year-olds, and ours, a lot of our students don't drive, we bus them. So getting our students somewhere safely, and they don't have cars and they don't drive, and they need to carpool and all the things, is another level of crazy with the logistics. So it's not to say that it can't or shouldn't be done. We also do give our students a lot of options for getting into the community. They can the Key Club, all the clubs that have community service. They come out and help the PTA. They come out to ECP and do ECP stuff with the little kids. They can go to the nature center. They can go volunteer with the dog shelter. They have a lot of opportunities, not to say we don't want more, but to say that specifically, given that a lot of our kids don't drive and that we do offer them opportunities that some of them take advantage of, some of them don't, if we want something like getting them into the community for something like the Snow Angels, we have to structure that more specifically, more carefully. We can't just put it on the table and say, choose to go spend an hour with animals at the nature center that you can take a bus to, or get yourself out on a snowy morning, bust your butt for 3 hours shoveling someone's driveway. They probably won't say thank you, and get yourself home again. Unless we structure it for them, there's no reason that they should choose that.
Yes, and also with the key fob doing the PTA are the parents. That's the issue
It's
is
not,
getting them
they don't
beyond.
get out
Yeah,
because
just
they're.
beyond the parents,
Right.
because the parents, you know, although we feel important to ourselves, we're a small community. This is what happened, unfortunately, we had a failed bond in 2019. With our bond, we were so committed to it as parents. And there were many community members who cared about the district and were so committed to it. But it got outvoted because there's many more non-parents. And so getting their buy-in, also the town is a big hurdle. I didn't know that buy-in was ignoring emails from us, but when I look at, he gets a lot of them. Certain towns that support their school districts, they have the school district flag throughout their town. They support their school district. They have it right up in their middle, you know, going through their light post in their town. We don't get that support here. So, you know, there's a lot that has to be.
I just want to point out that Bailey had the Walk to School Day event earlier this year that garnered a lot of student support, and they were walking through the streets, which, you know, can be a bad sign sometimes, but this time it was a good sign, and we had a lot of support for that. I know that there are, and I also want to commend Supervisor Feiner, because he had a big role in that, and he's been very responsive to our emails. But I do see that we can engage the students even younger in some good advocacy events that will play into their youth and their interests.
One of the things, oh, I'm so sorry.
I'm hearing one thing, and that is we're not getting support for all of these issues that is so good for our kids. And I think that the focus should be, let's huddle and see if we can have persons to be identified with these supports, the things that we have identified. Now, I'm saying that because if we have someone in between, not labeling the teachers, but if the teachers could mention something about the computer science course at TUICC, you're good for it. You must try and see if you could get, if you notice that in an individual, you mention it, okay, so that there could be some continuity. I don't see that. I'm saying this, I'm not being egotistical, but I'm saying this because I'm the chair of PCAC, Police Community Advisory Commission. And I've realized that there is a void, and a void where students are not being involved. So what I do is write to different superintendents, asking them to identify a student that would like to be there, and I give an itinerary of what they will be beneficial to the student and the school and the community. And that letter goes out, and I get that feedback, wherein I have the kids, one kid from a school come and sit on the police advisory board. It's an asset to the student because the student is now learning about a different unique aspect of the world and of which they're a part of, and that's the police environment. So that's not all. That student, I get to be the secretary to take notes. I take notes, and also two other persons I have to take notes. But the whole responsibility is on that student. That student feels good about themselves because they are participating. We feel good because we could take notes and give to the student, because that's a student. I don't think 11th grade will give a report or be a secretary to the extent that I think should be for that group. So things that I think was important, I shoot it over to them, to that student, before it's published, so that student will add it to the, as being a secretary. These are little frizzy things you do, and it has to be in it, you know, you have to, or we have to develop a culture where we can tell, let's say the teachers, I'm not maybe with the teacher, hey, listen, say so-and-so a little bit more. Who you think is doing X amount more? What can your class do? Because such and such is doing such and such. The police advisory board is open. You know, we have police night, you know, where the entire United States on a certain night has a police night. So if you see that person is sort of interested in that, then let them go. You give them wings to fly and not just saying.
You know, okay, so I envision the creation of a big menu, right? With lots and lots of opportunities that look something like what you have talked about. Okay, thank you. I'm gonna let this percolate a little bit and come up with suggestions on concrete things we can do in the future. Okay, just an FYI, a real quick little, let's see, it's 8:30. We gotta blaze through the rest of this agenda. Federal Department of Education work to be outsourced. Could you bring up Ed Department Journal News?
Sure. This was a while ago. Okay, well, hold on, let me share.
This was 11:20.
Okay. What's the file?
Ed Dept _JN.
There you go.
Yeah, that's it. Okay, so we've been waiting and waiting and waiting to see what they were gonna do to the education department. You know, they've been talking about dismantling it, and they don't have congressional approval, so they can't technically dismantle it, but they've made a number of agreements with, I think, 6 different other departments. So for the Department of Interior, hey, education for Native Americans, okay, we're gonna shut that over to you. And I think K-12 is the Department of Labor. So this is kind of telling you, okay, they've made all these agreements with these other groups that all report the executive branch, and it's here. So I don't know what to say beyond that. Have you heard anything that's going to impact what we do?
Not just yet, but I know that we've had, I wasn't at the meeting, but we've had a meeting with what's her name? Yes. Senator Mayer. The Lower Hudson Council members have been meeting with her to talk about things like the zero emission busing, like the federal funding and how the funding will impact school districts, like regionalization, those type of things. So nothing like directly impacting us at this point in time. But that's just kind of where we were, like as of last week.
Okay, so stay tuned. Next, recent events. We just wanted to show a few, just a couple of samples. We didn't talk about Catherine Applegate at the last meeting. This is reaching a little further back into the fall. There are a number of JPEGs that start with that are called Applegate. So we'll just cycle through them.
Applegates.
Catherine Applegate, yeah. So there's a right. So we're in our beautiful new auditorium, and we've renovated auditorium, and we've got Catherine Applegate up there on the screen, and she's an author, and the kids are participating with her. And it's just like a conference with the author. Meet the author. Okay, next. There she is. Okay, so she's talking about her one, several of her books. And Pocket Bear was, you see there's a gray cat circling around a little stuffed bear. It's 100-year-old handmade animal. Go ahead. And I think I took the slides. Yeah. Catherine Applegate is the Newbery Medal Award-winning New York best-selling author of numerous books for young readers, including the one and only Ivan Wilshire Crenshaw, The Ending Series, the Roscoe Riley Rules chapter, so on. So she's, advertising her book, obviously, but you're getting an idea that, this is what an author looks like. You too can someday write books of your own. No. There's one more.
We'll keep going.
There, Kleptocat. Okay, the sign posted outside my lair read, "Our cat is a burglar. Please accept our apologies. Its very existence vexed like a tick in my tail. Our implied ownership, but a feline can never be owned. Admired from afar, perhaps, but never owned. Cat brought to mind a spoiled, mewling ball of fluff. But I am not a mere cat. I am a tiger trapped in a kitty costume. I am a pure stealth and sinew and swagger. I've lived 9 lives and dozens more. And as for a burglar, burglars are merely burgled. I redistribute, I recycle, I rescue." So there's this cat who's running around gathering things up that perhaps don't belong to him, and he's doing it at the behest of this stuffed animal. And it's left up to you whether the stuffed animal has really got a persona or whether the cat is crazy and knocking this. But it's fun, okay? That's the point. And so the kids get to see what it's like to be an author. So that's something that our kids were exposed to at RJ Bailey. You want to say anything about it? Okay. Okay.
Dave,
Yeah.
that reminds me of when I was in school. The teacher will take us to the seashore, which is not too far from the school. And she will be walking and she said, "Oh, what have you seen up there?" And somebody will say, "Clouds." "Oh my goodness me, how would they look?" "They look like cotton." "Oh, anything else?" Yeah, and then, "You see anything around it?" "Oh yeah, we saw something like a rat run over." "Oh yeah, is there?" No. You go back in school, and the following day is the essay wheelwright. It's like a visit to the seashore. Okay, and the same questions asked, kids participate, and the teacher will write the entire essay, which is about half of a page about it. And we were all enthusiastic.
Right.
And go ahead. So it's the same thing you're saying.
It's the same thing.
Yeah, it's the same thing. Get them involved and let it be something that they could feel and touch and be part of.
Student engagement.
Yeah.
Yes, and technology can make that possible. Just if you can't have a field trip, you can put up a link and go to the auditorium. Okay, Thanksgiving Day Parade, New Rochelle. I believe Rebecca had went to that. Could you bring up the movie? And you can narrate for us.
It's a parade in New Rochelle. They do it every year. It's very fun because it's small.
Play it.
This is supposed to down to the play. Yeah, it's a fun parade with floats and bands and woodlands participate every year. There's no trophy! That's my neighbor.
So the uniforms are better.
Oh yeah, they finally got new uniforms, so they're about a year in.
That's neat.
Okay.
You had a better view of my son.
Oh.
I was standing on the wrong side of the street.
Oh, no. We're always sitting by the Starbucks. That's a great location.
So that's another event that can be advertised and publicized as well.
Yes.
So the community knows if they wanna go to the Thanksgiving parade that happens every year in New Rochelle, they can see our band there.
Right.
And Juneteenth parade, the participator every year too.
Yes.
Juneteenth, okay. That, because, so we didn't do as great a job at advertising this, right? But we can advertise the Juneteenth parade, alright,
Well, I mean, to be fair,
yeah.
New Rochelle didn't do a great job advertising it, so I was there and I was there at the end, there were a lot of people. It was still fun, it was still fun,
It was
but mind
raining
you, I will
and
just say
cold.
that our band
Yeah.
was right behind the Curious George balloon.
Yes.
Oh.
And we all know Curious George is a monkey. I'm not sure if you're aware of that. And that's, I mean, they had a great view of Curious George's rear end the entire time.
Okay. And then the last thing is the Thanksgiving food drive. So we've had the government shutdown. And so we started to say, let's gather food, and we came up with, right, we don't have the money that we had during COVID to distribute, food like we did on the weekends. So we tried having food drives at our schools and recommending, these are the food banks that you can go to and having that listed. And so now the shutdown is over, supposedly, and so there's this food, right? So it's gonna is it gonna be folded into the Thanksgiving food drive?
So we do have, every building is, I was gonna say, even if you looked at RJ Bailey, they have food up to wherever. And then even in our district office, we have like things like toothpaste and those type of things if families need them. I know during the middle high school, parent-teacher conferences, they kind of bag some things up, so as parents were leaving, they could take bags of food out the door. But we have a lot of food here, and I'm still going to push because I'm sure there are still people that are facing food insecurities with or without the SNAP benefits. What will happen is we will continue to support families and or staff that might need the food. In the meanwhile, if not, then after the holidays, then what we'll do is look to donate that to a food pantry or a shelter, a location that might be in need.
Feeding America, Feeding Westchester.
Feeding
Right,
Westchester.
could you bring up the Feeding Westchester
They'll take care of
list?
everything.
So it says the Seventh-day Adventist Church, the Mystery of What?
Right, so we have an employee that, from the church that's in the district.
And so,
Right,
so I just did Feeding Westchester, within 5 miles, what's there's a Seventh-day Adventist Church, right? And then you mentioned Life Church and the Sterling Community and the stuff on Manhattan Avenue and all that stuff. All right, so we've got a list.
Right, so Bailey PTA has offered to help as much as needed. But there's still some question as to what is happening to the food that has been collected. Here we are, just a couple days before Thanksgiving.
Right.
Is it getting distributed? Again, we've talked to Ms. Khan, and I think she had some questions too as to exactly what is going to happen to the food collected here.
So what the principals have been told, or the social workers also working with Ms. Cabell or Ms. Johnson, is identifying families that may be in need. Because we do want to track how many families we're servicing to. So the social workers are supposed to be working with families who may be in need or identifying those families. I still want to kind of, just in case folks want to drop in and pick up food or pick up things that they need. We haven't thought about backpacking it for kids because a lot of it is canned goods and it's very heavy and excessive.
I did get a letter, I don't know if it was from Bailey, did you get it? From the principal that said if your family need, let us know and we will you know.
Yeah, we're trying to do
That-
that.
exactly.
So we're trying to help these outreach.
So one of the concerns was that some of the food that's donated is not canned and is not in
It's
plastic
not,
or glass.
it's not perishable.
Perishable.
No, it's shelf stable, it's just in a container that could attract, there's.
Oh, okay, I see what you're saying.
Where you store it, where you
So
store it.
PTA has purchased bins, big plastic bins to try and make it.
And I did too,
a
we
safe
dropped them
place
off at the
over here.
school with food in it, with the lids to keep
The
out.
blue one,
Yes,
we've been wondering where that came from.
yeah, I picked up everything and dropped one to each school.
Okay,
Yeah.
so
Responsive relationship.
there were questions, we don't know where this came from, it just right.
Yeah,
So it's one of those things that as much as we're asking people to donate any food, shelf stable.
so we need more bins with lids.
But, I purchased
Oh, you
two,
did too? Okay.
two big ones, there's still some room in there. But we are getting to the point where it's Thanksgiving
Yes,
and it's
yes,
not,
yes.
so the question is,
The TV went off, Luke.
Oh, apologies.
so,
That's weird.
I mean, there are questions.
Yes.
Again, PTA stands ready to help, it's just that there's questions as to what to do.
I would just make sure we store, because I don't only do have Thanksgiving coming up, but we have
Christmas.
Hanukkah, Christmas, Kwanzaa. I don't want to just say Christmas because it's, multiple holidays for the December break. Yeah,
Okay.
I don't know what to, I think we just keep it stored, we still try to get people to come in, or we try to give the food away. So that,
Question, how much food is being taken out of Woodlands?
how much what?
Food is being taken out of Woodlands.
I didn't track
Okay,
that.
you need to, because, Bailey is the most centrally located school for families in need. Easy to get to, you can get to it. Woodlands is a ways, unless you know the students up there, you definitely need, because some kids also too don't look like, kids have pride too. You know, our kids tell them, hey, food is food. But here is centrally located where people can come all times.
And that's how it is, and you don't have to be a student
Yeah,
at that
yeah,
school.
that's what I'm
You could
saying.
go to the nearest
Yeah,
school
school.
location that's to your family, so. I can tell you a lot of parents were taking bags of
Yeah.
food that was left out, but I didn't track the bags. I didn't track the food.
Yeah, no, I'm just saying whoever's doing it, if there's an overabundance of food at Woodlands High School, and you have a place like Bailey where food is being taken. That's what I'm saying, because, we're centrally located. Woodlands is always, not Woodlands, Bailey's always been it's been the mecca in the community. When it comes to programs, because it's easy to get to.
Yeah.
In the community, the people right here, or even TDY, CC, those are places where people will go. Because everybody goes there, that's what I'm trying
I'm
to
just
say.
thinking because right now,
Yeah, no,
now it's packed over
yeah,
here,
that's what I'm saying,
yeah.
if it's, if the food is not, leaving as you would love to at Woodlands, when it comes over abundance, then you have to look and see how's it going here, and there's another place too. Because you just want to keep, as she's saying, you have food stored at Woodlands, I've been up there a lot of times where you
I
get
thought she
stuff.
said at RJ Bailey.
No, I was saying Bill.
Yeah, but the same thing too, we have a lot of food coming to Woodlands and it's not being taken, as it doesn't mean you get the overabundance of storage there, where I have a feeling here, or TDYCC, or even I say Feed America or food pantries, because you don't want to keep that food too long.
Right.
There, and the people always will come back and give for the next time. If you sit back and say the holiday season, that's another thing, because right now it's Thanksgiving.
Right.
So people want Thanksgiving, and then the next thing you know, you move on, and then it comes Christmas, and you can always, if you have to refill, but you want to get rid of the Thanksgiving stuff if you can.
So is that what you're saying, trying to get rid of it before Thanksgiving or by Thanksgiving and then doing more donations, or because I don't see them as too far apart because we get out of school 2 weeks?
Well,
in December.
I agree that the things that have been received at this point should be distributed before Thanksgiving. I think that's what, in time for Thanksgiving. But that way, I don't think for the long weekend, having the food staying in this building is going to help anybody.
That's logistics.
So,
Because we're all leaving Wednesday, so we gotta.
right,
Yeah.
and so that's why PTA has been in contact, kind of trying to say, okay, is today the day, or what's happening?
Okay, I see what you're saying.
And And then to continue the drive, yes, have a destination for it. Is it going to? The one thing I ask is that I do not want any PTA member to be the one distributing, 5 cans that are in front of them to the 6 kids that are also in front of them. I do not want my members to be in a position to have to allocate fewer goods than there are kids.
Okay. I didn't know that PTA members were distributing food.
I'm just saying
Oh, okay.
that our role has been not defined, but we've been asked to help.
Okay.
So I'm trying to find some definition.
Okay.
So can I ask one more question about the distribution? The only part that I've seen is of the Woodlands doing parent teacher conferences, there were grab bags ready
That's
to
right.
go. It's been my experience in food distribution sites that the food is left open so that the people who are coming in have full autonomy, full control over what they need, what they want, what they choose, rather than getting handouts that are designated for them. I think that's important. It's a logistical hurdle, but I do think if we are offering what some people would consider handouts, we do it with the most dignity possible. And in the food distribution sites I've been a part of, that the choice is fronted there. You don't come in and take what someone hands you. You may not eat it, you may be allergic, your kids may not like it. You have a chance to shop and take care of your family in the way you choose. And I think if we can somehow organize that without parents that we see every day who may or may not be behind the counter regulating that, if we can find a way to mix our community up enough to really forefront dignity and choice and family dynamics for
I think that's a good idea, and I understand what you're saying. Usually when I've worked or volunteered at the distribution sites, they have it organized, so they had all this in one space and then you go to the next. I don't think we just had enough time.
No, we don't, and I'm glad that the
Yeah,
food's
so-
getting out. I'm just thinking if we're gonna continue this through the next couple,
Then that's something to
the next
think about.
season.
Yeah, and then the other thing, to think about too is, we also didn't have enough time to think about which house in each building as opposed to we need to start collecting food for families, So logistically, if things we had time to plan, we probably would have considered that, but I did not consider that in terms of organizing. That's for the schools to kind of think about how to organize those things too.
No, I thought Woodlands was great, and I think, I saw that practice parent teacher. But was it also there for, student
Could you
parent
bring up
day?
the,
I forget.
we're out of time here. Could
I was
you-
involved in
Could
it,
you
yeah,
bring
I'm
up
wondering if they still had
the
it out, but, yes. that was
facility
great.
stuff?
But you're right.
In the minutes,
Water-
sorry,
Water 01?
oh, okay, gotcha.
David, there's also a question.
Water progress.
Go ahead.
There's a question in the chat.
Oh,
Let me take a
We
look.
should
Wait,
periodically ask the people.
let's look at the chat.
Yeah, hold on. How do I open up the chat? Oh, okay, chat.
Chat. Do you have a breakout per grade on how many kids have passed the New York State test?
Yes. How many kids do you have a breakout by grade on how many kids have passed the state tests?
So I think that's a twofold question, because are you talking about passing state tests through the eight, because it's not necessarily passing, but it's the levels, proficiency, that was shared and reported at the CEC meeting. I don't have the data in front of me. Dr. Joe did a very good presentation on that. And then in terms of the state assessments for the Regis exams, we do have that. But again, I don't have that in front of me. It might be online on the CEC meeting, the last CEC meeting. Not
The education
the
committee.
education committee meeting, yes.
I wanna say 59, but I'm not sure. Okay,
I don't know off the top of my head.
right, and it's not on the state, the data site for New York State yet. I looked earlier
It's
today.
not. It's not.
Okay, well,
So we just did the presentation on the preliminary assessment data through the way and in the regions.
okay, we'll look for it. Okay, real fast, water main progress. Just, close it. Right, All right, so they went as far as you can go from on the left-hand side on the main road, right, towards West Hartsdale Avenue, and they're having trouble figuring out the connection, and while they wrangle with legal and Stone Oaks, they're working on the east side. So right there, they've gone around the gymnasium, you have the gym entrance, right, you can come down to the right, on the right-hand side, and they're making their way down the curve, around the curve next to the pond. That's so they're working. So show the pictures.
Okay.
Water 1, water 2.
Okay.
Right, so it's the same thing that's been happening in the right. So there's the way you drive to the gym to the right, and they just move the signal and they're going right along. There's one more, and
the water too.
yeah, fine, yeah, there. Making the trench. Okay, and the fields have gone as far as they can go in terms of construction, which is everything but the top coat, everything but the rubberized coat that goes on top of the track. And so they're waiting for it to be warm enough so that it doesn't get below 55 degrees at the middle of the night. And then they'll put down the track coat and it'll cure. But if it gets below 55, it doesn't work, okay? So it's gonna be spring. So it's just sitting there with a construction fence around it until spring.
Dave, do you have a
Closer to
Yeah.
June.
do you have a picture of the tennis courts? The tennis courts at all?
I have in the previous, I haven't in the previous thing. The tennis courts are
I know, finished. I
are
just have a
finished.
picture of it. Yeah, I just saw it the other day.
Yeah,
It looks
so
really great.
it's good. And then I wanted to RJ Bailey, look for RJ Bailey temp bus stop. And you, Tracy Mares, dealt with a problem with the temporary bus stop there.
They just removed it, and so it's gone.
So it's done, work is done.
Yes, and they left the platform there, and I looked to take an after picture, he took the before picture with the sign there. And then the problem is, they trying to pull out, the bus is trying to pull out, and the parents are trying to pull out, and the bus stops in front of the, right. So Tracy went to the town of Greenburgh and tell
I was surprised to see a bus stop in front of our lovely elementary school. It's a very busy bus stop because it's a transfer area. So people from all over Westchester that go up and down Tarrytown Road, they need to go up and down for various places such as WCC, such as their homes, such as a hospital, such as the jail. There's many things up Hillside Avenue. And so I wrote to our town board members who did get it. And it was a temporary thing, nobody communicated with the school district, which I think was more of the issue. At least if they had let us know that there would be a public bus stop moved right onto our campus, where there are many adults that have nothing to do with children waiting for periods of time, watching children walk to and from school. If they had communicated, I think we could have been a little more prepared with our own security measures for our children. And they removed it.
Yeah, and they removed it, so good. And I watched and made sure that the bus didn't stop there. And it doesn't.
And I had to get out and ask the bus to please either move up above the exit or stop below the
And there's a
exit. You can't
stop,
block the traffic.
there's a stop just past Bailey, which was so strange to me why they had to put it in front of it. Yeah, it didn't make much sense, but
So we got it, okay. So we're about out of time, it's 8:57. Just go back to the agenda and go to number 11. And we're gonna decide what we wanna do for our next meeting. So there are all the meetings that we have for the year. We got the first September, we did meet the PTAs. In October, we did Audrey Cavell, his special ed. Dr. Nadim Farouk, came today, and we've got December and January, and traditionally we had a budget meeting in the spring that we combined. Yeah. So the question is, what do we want to fill in for these boxes? Because this is an event in which we plan other stuff, but we're also, getting to know our district a little better. So we've been looking at, what's the new central office staff?
Hey, you work with my team.
Yes, I am. So who do we want do we want a guest speaker from her? You saw the list earlier, all the portraits of the new central office people. Should we keep going?
Would it be too advantageous to try to have a holiday community event?
That's fine. What's
No, I'm
your
asking.
suggestion?
I don't know.
You want me
Is it
to
possible?
bring in food?
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking, and we kind of, we maybe invite some of the local community folks, we invite TYCC, we invite veteran folks, have them come in.
I might be able to organize the food too.
Some of the civic association folks that we know, of course, our PTAs, and just have a holiday gathering.
You want to do that December 15th?
Is that too advantageous to do? Too soon, yeah.
Too soon?
Is this a way that we can have the food organized and still do some meeting, but invite the community out to pick up the food?
And I'll reduce the agenda to fewer topics a little bit, and we can spend some time talking to them. Yeah, if you want.
Is that
What do you think?
Good idea.
Yeah, good idea. I mean, like a meet and greet, that's all. I mean, Christmas holiday, you can have, as I said, different groups come in and, they can talk,
And so-
It was done in the past.
Yeah.
Very successful.
Okay, so we'll work on that.
You know that December 15th is like Hanukkah, right?
Is that the first day of Hanukkah? Great. You have some traditional food?
No. Also, that's the day that you have to pick up their pie and cake at the
Perfect.
That's even better.
Okay.
That's better. They can pick up, make sure,
Pie and cake.
they should pick up at nighttime, so daytime. Yeah, come together.
All right, is there anything that anybody wants to talk about? I'm open to the floor. Questions, concerns, topics for future? Do I hear a motion to adjourn the meeting?
Motion.
Well, can I, just,
Yeah.
the minutes that are attached,
Yes.
on page 2, it says that on January 7th, 25, the Board of Education approved following individuals as voting members. I don't think it's January 7th. Is it supposed to be
Should be
October 7th, 10th, 7th?
probably, okay. Okay. All right, so, and also Rebecca has one C in it. All right, so you recalled me to maybe, do I hear a motion to adopt the minutes of the 10/23 meeting as amended? You see anything else? All right.
Motion.
Seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carries. Okay. Do I hear a motion to adjourn?
Motion. So moved. Second, third, fourth.
Yeah.
All in favor?
Aye.
Good night.
Okay.
What year did you graduate with?
1996.
My cousin Damian Berkowitz, was 95.
I know, I'm gonna try 77. Very good meeting, Dave.
I gotta go big.
Glad I could.